All right. Welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show. And today is our regular monthly coaching moments with Ryan DeApril. Now, if you're not yet familiar with Ryan, or if you're new to the show, Ryan comes on every single month to give our listeners and our viewers a coaching moment and a coaching session. Let me tell you about Ryan. Ryan DeApril is a progressive thought leader focused on providing for his agents and his staff at DeApril Properties. His strengths are his motivational skills, his coaching style, and his dedication to training. He has 14 offices throughout the Chicagoland area and also in Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan with hundreds and hundreds of top producers. DeApril Properties is a coaching company with 8 strategic coaches who work week in and week out with every agent individually, focused on business planning, coaching, and accountability. If you'd like to take your career to the next level, or if you're just not getting the attention you need, check out DeApril Properties. Visit deaprilproperties.com. Welcome once again, Ryan.
Thank you, DJ. I appreciate you having me.
And for everyone who's watching this and not listening, you can see Ryan's got a whole setup now with a microphone. It's you have like a nicer setup than me. So now I have to upgrade my, I know what I'm asking Santa for this year is a better equipment.
I had our head of branding watch our last podcast, and she said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "The camera's up your nose." So she took control, and all of a sudden here this is.
The microphone you're using is actually called a Yeti, and when I first started this podcast, that's the exact microphone I used to use. So that's a good one to definitely.
All
It's
right.
a great mic. Anyway.
Yetis hold my cocktails in the summertime. That's
the other type of Yeti,
relation.
yeah.
Okay.
I am. I actually. That's going to be the stocking stuffer. Well, I shouldn't announce it, but that'll be. Well, it's already said. That'll be the stocking stuffer. These Yeti mugs for everyone in my family this year. So those are not cheap. I thought those were. I thought those were a little cheaper, but I already committed to it. So anyway, enough talk about microphones and mugs and coolers. So this is we're finishing up 2020. Obviously, a very unusual year, of course, for a lot of different reasons, but also from a real estate perspective, at least here in the Chicagoland area, has been, I don't know, a pretty strong year, real estate wise. And of course, we don't want to undermine, of course, all of the people struggling in all the
Right.
different ways people are struggling, but real estate's been pretty strong. So I was thinking, and we were talking about this before the show is, I always love to know, like, what you spend your day coaching and training, and you have hundreds of agents. And I'm always interested to know, like, what are you telling people, your agents, how are you prepping them for next year? What are you helping them do? Where are they struggling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as you said, this was a boom year for us in real estate. And,
Yeah.
I'm also in the mortgage lending. I'm in the title business as well. And so all around, I'm just counting my blessings and feeling very grateful for the industry I picked, and have a lot of empathy for the restaurant owners and the people in the travel industry. And I have friends in both those industries, and it's tough. And it reminds me a lot about 2008 and what happened during the Great Recession. But it was a record year for us in real estate. And we're in many markets, right? We cover Chicago, the city, we cover the suburbs in Indiana, Wisconsin. And so real estate's hyper local. So it's different from the city and the vertical condo buildings to the sprawled out areas or the second home markets that we serve. Some areas are flat, some are it's a seller's market. And so, what we're telling our agents, it really depends. Now, there's one common thing amongst everybody is that, in real estate, mortgage lending for that matter, in fact, any industry that's in sales, where you are, dependent upon yourself and generating the business, you have to have that marathon mindset. And always remember that it is truly the basic and the mundane that's going to continually push you forward. And I think the biggest thing that we're telling our agents, like you asked, and it's really focusing on accountability with them and structure. I love our industry and the freedom and the flexibility that it gives us. But it also is the downfall for the majority of us. I mean, that 80-20 rule is hard to escape. 20% of the real estate agents sell 80% of the real estate. And I tell every one of our agents and our loan officers and our title reps that we are coaching, that is simply a choice. It is simply a choice to be in that 20%. But you don't have to go it alone, and that's why we provide the coaching and the accountability and the structure to help people, because the human mind is a funny thing, and it's not the economy, right? It's not the pandemic, it's not the Great Recession that we're battling. It's our mindset
Yeah.
that we are constantly battling. It's ourselves, me included in that. And so we just found in this industry, we vertically integrated our companies, in terms of, bringing coaching in-house.
Yeah.
The marketing, of course, is in-house. The technology, the CRM technology we built is in-house. And, we also integrated the lending and the title business part of it. But it's just such a lone wolf type of business. And it's been designed like that. And I don't know where it started, but it's different than most other sales environments where, let's say, if you were in pharmaceutical sales, you're selling the company's product. In real estate, the agent, you're the brand. That's a
Yeah.
great thing, but it comes with a price, and we've just invested so much time and money into a structure to give that agent that comfort, and that accountability. But the agent has to choose to have it. I mean, you could even join our company and not take advantage of any of the things that are available, because if you don't show up, right? If you don't show
Right.
up for your business, you don't show up to the company that's there to support you, it's not going to do you any good. So, we're probably 20% psychology, 80% performance coaching, and, helping people get there. And again, the thing, what we're telling them is that 2021 is going to be a record year. We feel it's going to be another record year. And, these rates are ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is a great time to buy. It is a great time to sell and upgrade as well at the same time. I think, when you're purchasing homes, you should be purchasing home, not investment property. When you're purchasing home, you should be looking and focusing on quality of life and what you want to get out of it, um, and think of it for the long term. And when you're selling real estate as a broker, your number one objective is to be that person that's liked and trusted by that network and top of mind, so that when they do decide to transact, that you're the person that they call.
Yeah, boy, you just said so many things. I want to just touch on a couple of them because I want to unpack some of this. You mentioned you talking about, you're really Diable Properties is a real estate company, but how you define it as a coaching company. And
Yeah.
I was thinking about, you were mentioning that this is kind of a funny industry in the sense that, you get your license, you hang it with, whichever firm you've chosen, and then yeah, you are still sort of a lone wolf. Now there's exceptions because you could join an existing team, and yes, those situations
Yep.
do exist, but for the vast majority of agents, they don't do that. They started a firm, and I was thinking back to when I started as a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley a million
Right.
years ago. I was not a
Same
lone
thing.
wolf, and it's a very similar kind of
Yep.
industry in a sense, but I never felt
Right.
alone, and I
Yeah.
was yeah, and
Because of
so
the industry,
yeah,
right?
the
There's a trend in
industry,
our. Yeah.
yeah.
Go on, I'm sorry.
No, you're so right. Is that it is interesting, and I hadn't ever thought of it until you just mentioned it. But this idea that most of our agents, we don't see them at our firm. We have hundreds and hundreds of agents too, and of course, the pandemic has made it more difficult for people to come in. But still, most of our agents are lone wolves as well. We're here to support them and train them, but it's up to them to take advantage of it. And I was also thinking that the same personality that oftentimes is drawn to real estate. And of course, there's lots of different personalities that are drawn to real estate, but the outgoing person who wants to work directly with their clients and help them and meet their needs and find them the best home or help them sell their home, is oftentimes that same personality maybe isn't so great at coaching or being or finding a coach or accountability, as you mentioned. That we all have temperaments, we have different personality traits and styles. There's things that are easier for each of us and more difficult. And if you think like professional athletes, every professional athlete has a coach and they're already excellent at what they do. They still need somebody to hold them accountable and show them how to do things. Of course, it would make sense that real estate agents would need the same.
Yeah, and there's so many different platforms out there for realtors to pick from, and I have found through doing this now for 15 plus years is that a lot of them can be a distraction. It's
Yeah.
having a personal assistant, right? we found there are some people that are made for it, but the majority aren't. And so,
Right.
we provide that marketing assistant, that person that works as an assistant to our agent, because, the HR element, the hiring, the firing, take them through the personality tests
Yeah.
and all the things that, there are books in real estate written about, do the disc assessment on this person that you're going to hire and the personality test. Well, what kind of person are you? Are you a salesperson? Are you coming to come in and make some money? Or are you looking to be a all around business owner? And it depends on the individual that you are, right? And there are a number of agents out there that make a tremendous amount of money and make a great living, and they don't deal with those types of things, and they don't want to deal with it because they know their wheelhouse. There's others that do, but they have a staff, but they're managing a staff, they're handling HR issues, hiring issues, firing
Yeah.
issues, retraining issues, etc. And so you got to decide what it is that you want, and then and really explore and look at all the different options that are out there, and then what's the point. There's a lot of big teams out there, and the jury's still out with me, at least. I think there's a point of diminishing return sometimes for that, and I've talked to a lot of big team leaders as well, and I see the amount of time, and some of them have said to me they forgot, and they're almost too far into it, but they got into the real estate business because they wanted the freedom, the flexibility, and the income, but all of a sudden here they are, they're managing 10 agents
Right.
on their team, and they're
Right.
working 7 days a week. And I've had a conversation with a couple of them where they're making a similar amount of money as a couple of our independent agents that do less volume, but they're keeping more of it. And it's offset with the assistance that we provide them. So it's a complicated business. It's a lot. I do think in that Merrill Lynch environment, that financial services industry, there is more of a structure, and I think people tend to be more successful in those businesses because of it. I think people are more successful with the structure, and that's why we designed our company around coaching and accountability. A lot of companies where it's a numbers game: get the people in, get the people in, get the people in, and throw it at a wall and see what sticks. Anybody can be a success at this business. Angela Duckworth says, enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare.
Yeah.
And we talk about effort, and you can't coach effort, but you also have to take in consideration that again, the mind is a funny thing. It's a great tool, it's a terrible master, and all those cliches that are out there. So we want to try to be that well that our agents could come back to and talk to. And we also say coaching shouldn't be something you're afraid of as well. It's not like you're coming into a gym or yelling at you to do another push-up. Sometimes we're just going to have a conversation about what your blocks are, what your limiting beliefs are, what's holding you back. This shit's real that our agents go through, and the stress that they go through, and the stress that they take on with their clients, and all that's going on, and the domino effect. And sometimes when you're coaching agents, you have to pause and let them vent and guide them through that, and let them know what a great job they're doing. And then get back at the next coaching session. Okay, let's go back to the mundane. Let's get back. Your marketing's running. That's on autopilot. How you doing with your interaction with your network? Is it systematic? Is it habitual? Being habitual, having the right habits is the key to success in life. And I tell my daughters that, and my daughters are still little girls right now, and teenagers turning into young women. So I'm not over the board with them. I'm letting them have their bad habits and enjoy their time. But I try to teach them when they ask me what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it at a certain time. Because I tell them, because I say, guys, it's on autopilot. And that way I have so much freedom in my life because I'm disciplined. And for all the agents that are out there, what is called live flow, being in touches and connecting with the people in your network. It's a very simple formula that I didn't create, and a lot of people, coach and teach in other coaching platforms. And the philosophies, it's all the same. If you're going at a network-based type of revenue stream, which I think is the easiest form to go about.
Certainly the least expensive way to do it.
It is. I mean, it's maybe a little bit longer, maybe 6 months longer.
Sure.
But it's a lot less expensive, and it's a lot more reliable.
Yeah.
You do get to a tipping point, and I do see some of our our top producing agents, some 30 million, $35 million, 25 million, $40 million producers in this company, their habits aren't as good as they were when they first started,
Sure.
but it's because they don't have to. It's
Yeah.
because they still have the habits, and it's not it's not what we put them through when they were first here. And there's that tipping point. There's that snowball. The business gets better every year that you're in it,
Yeah.
and it should continually grow if you're doing the right things. Um, and you do have to understand that you are in a lead generation business.
Yep.
Your number one priority to yourself and your family is to generate leads. And it's very simple to generate those leads. Just create relationships
Yeah,
with your
that's all
network.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just create relationships and make sure that those people just know that this is what you do and stay in touch
Yeah.
with them, care about them. You talked about endurance. I mean, everything's about endurance. That's why, you
Yeah.
talk so much about discipline and habits. And it's funny. So for most of my life, I am not naturally inclined to exercise. I've played sports my whole life. I still play. I'm a tennis player, but other than that, I don't it doesn't really get me strong and doesn't really give me endurance. It just keeps me active a couple days a week. So I really wasn't lifting weights or exercising. And I realized that I was coming home tired. I'm now, 44 and don't have quite the energy I used to. And I just wasn't in shape. But I hated going to the gym because it's really difficult. It's painful. It's just not something I like to do. But it's something I know is important. So finally, this year just said, I'm getting a trainer. And as incredibly expensive as it is for me. And I spend a fortune on it, but it's the best investment I've made really this year because like you were saying, coaching when you go to a gym isn't always fun, and mine still isn't fun, but because I have a structure and I have accountability, I'm paying for it. I have somebody who's going to be there. And that means if I'm not there, then I'm assuming she probably still gets paid, but I'm wasting her time. So I have an accountability to her. Also, it's not something I really can do for myself on my own. Some people can do it. I just can't. So I'm doing this, and yes, it's a bit of money, but my energy is higher to where I can now spend that with my friends, family, for my own personal time, my business, whatever. But I have more energy now. And so it's a really simple thing: work out, get more energy, and you'll do more. But I had to hire somebody to do that. And then we're really talking about coaching. And, at a lot of firms, there is no upfront cost. If you get, like your firm, you guys don't charge fees for coaching. That's just what you want to do to help make your agent successful. And a lot of firms really don't have that.
Well, that's why we're integrated. Like I said about vertically integrating, there's a lot of great, coaching platforms out there from Buffini to there's two fairies. There's a Mike and a Tom, I
Mike and
believe, right?
Tom. Yeah.
Right, Dad
Yep.
and Son.
There's ninja selling. There's a lot of
Ninja
them. Yeah.
Selling. What am I thinking? Yeah, Ninja Selling. Um, and they're great. I just think it's important as the brokerage that should be our key differentiator is that this is how we set ourselves apart. That you don't have to sign up and pay for coaching that's available to you, um, and on a regular basis, of a weekly basis. The only trick is you just have to show up.
Yeah.
And if you are, um, like you said, spending money on a coach, reword that and say it's investing. You're investing money
Yeah.
in a coach.
Yep.
And then think about every time you do that, you're putting it into a bank, and you're going to get an interest on it, and you're going to get a return on it. That coaching is a wonderful thing. All those companies that I just mentioned are wonderful companies, and they provide wonderful value to their customers, the real estate agents or loan officers who are receiving it. Um, and it's a passion. I think I'm certain of them. I can speak to ourselves. We're very passionate about it. We're very passionate about kind of having these breakthrough with their agents and seeing their aha moments and working with them and helping them kind of learn, the mindset issues, but also the skill set. Get focused about the lead generation and the live flow and explain the importance of that, but then get in the skill set of converting, and how do you convert? What's your style of converting? And you have a soft style? Do you have a hard, direct style? There's no right or wrong. Everybody has a natural style, but what's your style? And then how do you sharpen those tools?
Mhm.
Also when it comes to converting, the different levels of leads, right? your cool, your colds, your warms, right? Your cools, they're not certain they're going to hire you. Your colds next year, your warms, certain they're going to transact this year. What are you doing what's in your repertoire? What's in your arsenal of tools to be in front of those people more than a monthly basis? And maybe it's not you, maybe it's just simple marketing things that are of value. And I'm not talking like a calendar. I'm talking about like, Case-Shiller report, broker metrics, type of supply and demand, pricing analysis, something that's going to really add value to them. You could do it for buyers and you could do it for sellers. There's so much there. And it's like that 1 or 2% that's going to actually get you over the edge and help you get that deal. So, lead generation, as I said, it's probably the number one most important part of your business for the agents out there, but you got to learn how to convert as well. You need to learn how to close. You need to learn how to write contracts to win the contracts. You got to know when it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market. You need to know when a price high and a price low. Same with your offers, and come in with the right offer, and so many different things out there. And that's what, we are continually having conversations with about. Well, I'm coaching all the coaches, right? And I coach a handful of agents, but that's what I'm always working with our coaches on and calibrating. That's the other thing is, I met a great producer. This guy's, does $25 million of volume a year. And I asked him, I said, how much volume are you gonna do next year? And he said, I don't know. I'm guessing I'll do this. I said, can you show me? He said, no. And that's why we created that software that we have, because, majority of our agents, probably 85% of our agents use our software. The other 15% that don't are probably the typical ghost agents that, they happen everywhere. They come in, they sign up, but you don't see them. You would look into their snapshot and it'll tell you what their business looks like next year. Important. And you can do it, on some other CRMs, you can do it on an Excel spreadsheet. But it's important because it affects your mindset. And when we're coming right now into the holiday season, and things start to slow, they are slowing. I mean, it's busy. But you're going to start seeing this 50% drop in business. It only lasts for 2-3 weeks, but that has an impact, right? But it's nice to have that forecast, that crystal ball into what your business looks like. How much volume is that? How much is that buyers? How much is that sellers? Click on it. That's who they are. Click on it. That's who they are. And then they have a tool and a resource to go back and, like for everybody listening here, and I think I mentioned this in the last podcast with Peter, we should all be taking stock in our relationships right now when it's slowing down, especially your previous buyers last year and also the year before. And if you get one thing out of this podcast today, I encourage everybody here to look at everybody who purchased a home through you this year. I'm not talking about selling, I'm just talking about buying side right now. And write them a note and just say, during the holiday season, I was thinking about you. I remember and finding that home, and the first moment we walked into it to the closing table. And I just want to say, I hope you enjoy your first holiday season there. I'd love to connect with you after the new year. All Ryan. And, rewind that and write that down and send that out. That is where your referrals are going to come from. I mean, your referrals are going to come from your network. And everybody in your network knows at least 4 people who buy or sell a home. Now, the question is, are they aware, right? So 16% of your network is going to transact every year. So you have 200 people in your network, that's 32 potential transactions. If they buy and sell, that's now 64 potential transactions. That's 16%. But the other 84%, we're doing math right, the other 84% of your network knows 4 people who are buying or selling a home. Well, the people who are aware of it are most likely the people who transacted in the past year. So, I see sometimes, well, let's stay on the trend. So this thought. So when you have buyers, right, that transacted with you last year, stay really close to those buyers. You're going to get a good kick in your business, a good boost of referrals from those people who purchased a home, because they're aware of the 4 to 5 other people in their network that are buying it. They say, my realtor is my friend, and he was amazing, and she was awesome. Give her a call, guys. That's incredibly important. That's what your business is based on. It's based on referrals
basically referrals from your network. And then, we get, what we call burned in this business where they hire another agent, right? And I tell all of us, myself included, my wife who sells real estate, it's because you didn't keep in touch with them. It's why they hired somebody else. And you didn't treat it like a business. And when I mean didn't treat it like a business, I mean your communication patterns and your communication behaviors. Look, when we tell you to be in touch with 10 people a day, that's what we're saying. That's your business. That's not like a onesie twosie thing you hear at a seminar. It's like treat it like a business. Be involved and notate it. Somebody just told me like, I don't like to record it. Well, then you're not doing your job. That's fine. You don't have to. You can do what you want. But if you want to be like this group over here, I highly recommend you record it, because how are you going to know 4 weeks from now who the hell you communicated with? You won't. Right. Then you're on accident. You're not on purpose, right? But to the agents who said that, we get burnt, going back to that point, there are people in your network that have bought or sold a home that didn't use you. The people who purchased a home that didn't use you, don't burn the bridge. Send them a nice note. Hey, I was just thinking about you. And you guys are spending your first holiday season in your new home. And I just want to wish you all the best. And you just, something like, you just come across my mind, just think about you. I know you guys bought your new home. I hope you are loving the first holiday season. What do you think they're going to do when they get that note from you and they don't get that note from the agent that represented them when they purchased the home? Who do you think those referrals are going to go to? I'd rather take 4 referrals and from that person than get that one transaction. I'd like to get all 5. I'd rather get 4 referrals in that one transaction. And we have a tendency to be short-sighted and term. And that's an expression. I've said it on the podcast and I read it somewhere else. Everything that I'm telling you guys here, I've read somewhere. We overestimate what we can achieve in a year and we underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. We overestimate what we can achieve in a year and we underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. My company is truly probably 8 to 9 years old. I mean, I got in the business in 2005. It was really in 2010, I thought I wanted to start growing my real estate company. In 2012, I said, I'm going to commit to growing this real estate company. I'm going to leave sales. I'm going to dedicate all my time. 8 years later, we're approaching $1 billion of sales this year amongst all 14 of our offices. 2 years ago, or 2 years after, in 2014, it wasn't like that. I think we had our first quote unquote summit in 2014 where we had 60 guests. And this year we're flying 60 people down to Cabo for their Black Key Award and their Sapphire Circle Award. But I was, long-term minded. I had a vision and I wasn't focused on immediate gratification. I'm impatient. I'm incredibly impatient, incredibly anxious. I got a lot of issues I could tell you guys about. I have all the issues that you have because we all share it. I'm you and you are me. It's all the same. We're all battling the same mindset issues. But give yourself a chance. And continually repeat that to yourself, that we overestimate what we can achieve in a year. We underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. And remember the biggest reward, and this isn't some, phony baloney bullshit I'm saying. The true reward is the journey you're on and the person you become, right? Who I am now is not who I want to be a year from now. I hope I continually grow. And who I was 8 years ago is not the guy that's talking to you right now. I've learned so much. I learned a lot from my failures, but I learned more from getting up and pushing through. I've been punched in the gut. I've been stabbed in the back. All those things have happened to me that's happened to everybody else. But I've made the decision to learn from it. And it is really that book that Angela Duckworth wrote called Grit. Guys, it's a wonderful, wonderful read that you should read, and then you should pass it along to somebody that you care about, a child, somebody that you love, a family member, and explain to them like, this is really what success is about in life. And success isn't defined just on money and income. It's defined on a whole variety of things. And she covers this in the book. Have you read Grit?
I have.
I went on another tangent, and so I forget what.
That's okay. Actually, I think your microphone, your mic's good, but we're hearing an echo. So can you check your computer, because I think the speaker changed, because I'm now hearing myself coming through.
I'll tell you what it is. It's these.
Ah,
So
there we go. Much better. So everyone just hang tight while we figure this out.
Yeah, but I can't hear you now.
Oh, you can't hear me at
Technical
all?
difficulty. No, I can't hear you. So I think what I'm going to have to do is maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
now do you hear an echo again?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. These new AirPod Pros, they're great.
I have
but
them
they're-
as well. Yeah.
Do you have this issue with your AirPod Pros?
I have some connection issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having this echo issue all the time, and it's
Huh.
these things. And I don't know if there's a reset. So was I just jumbling along with a bunch
No,
of
no,
echo?
no, no. You sounded fine. I just, whenever I talked, my voice was coming through, so I just wanted to. But no,
Got
I
it.
think everything you said was really helpful. Specifically, the idea of just everything's habits. Everything is
Everything's
endurance and
habits.
disciplines.
Yeah.
And
And
this
anybody
is
can do this. That's
Yeah.
the one thing I try to get across to everybody. Anybody can do this. The biggest battle is yourself.
yeah. And this is also the time of the year to get really honest. And if you struggle with accountability, which, by the way, most of us do, you do, I do, all of us do, and in some capacity, we're good. It's easy for us to stay consistent with certain parts of our life, and other parts of our life that are not, something we like to do or something that's enjoyable, we're going to put off, and we're not going to hold ourselves accountable. And that's why having a coach and having people around you that can keep you on track. Of course, they can't do the work for you, but when you have accountability, I would love to see statistics around just accountability in general, because it's just got to be amazing for production, for any type of production, whether you're in real estate or you're an athlete. But having somebody that just says, you're supposed to do this now, even if it's, you wake up today and, I know need to reach out to 10 people in my database, and I won't go to bed until I do that.
And that's one of the pros for a team, right? And even the team leaders that sometimes I see, I'm like, boy, you are doing all of this. You're working harder with this quote unquote, this team that you have, and you're not really earning it. But on the flip side is that team leader has accountability, because that team leader is responsible for those agents. So, but you don't have to do that. I mean,
Right.
It's some people are made for it. Some people must do that. It's the best thing for them to do that. But it really comes down to, and you'll see teams are successful because of that. It's because of the structure. And, get in coach, get an environment, get where you're meeting with somebody regularly, and you're going over, and guys, you're going to go over the basics. It's sometimes everybody comes to coaching, they want to learn a new trick. And you watch Tiger Woods practice, 10,000 swings, he's not doing, tricks with his 5-iron or not. He's just doing the same. Muscle memory is what he's trying to get. And that's why he and Phil and everybody else are so excellent. I think I'm back in my dates of the best golfers. Who was it? Dustin Johnson this year?
I don't know.
That won the Masters?
Yeah. I don't know. I actually, funny enough, just as a quick aside, I had tickets to the Masters this year, or no. Yes, I don't think, they didn't allow, but I actually was selected for the lottery. And then it's like the one year I've been trying to get tickets every year. And this year I got it, and then they didn't have it. So they couldn't go.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right about, and talking about teams, and teams are so, talked about these days. And I'm starting to think, I wonder if a lot of times you talk about the structure of a team and having some accountability and having a leader that you can go to, oftentimes is probably great for brokerages who really don't want to do a lot of coaching or training.
Well, that's why you see a lot of brokerages promoting teams. It does take a huge burden off of a brokerage. There are brokerages that write books about a team, and it makes sense because that's how their business model is set up. It's that multi-level marketing type of model, and the team environment takes a tremendous amount off. And we have teams here. We got big teams here. It just depends. It's you gotta explore what you want and what you're looking for. But yeah, that team leader that team leader takes on a big burden.
Yeah. And oftentimes I imagine a lot of, individual producers that get to a level where they feel that they should start building a team, then they find themselves interacting a lot less probably with with their customers when they
Well,
might find they may or may not want that.
Yeah, exactly. I have an agent that we are starting to build a team from, and the reason we're starting a team is because he'll sell 67 units this year, and he just hit $20 million, 67 units, average price points to something, and physically can't handle it anymore.
Yeah, right.
And but he's a pro at live flow. A lot of teams out there, team leaders start teams because they want other people's sphere of influences in there, or
Sure.
other people's networks in there. I'm like, oh, that's not the best mindset to go about it. You should go about it where you have too much business, you need to hand it off, and then you're going to coach them to do what you've done, and that's how your business grows. And so I've seen people go about it at different routes. I think it's one of those things that agents who are looking for teams to be on teams, you really have to ask the right questions and check the business and where is the majority of the business coming from. And again, if the majority of the business is coming from a network, I think you're joining a great team. If the majority of business is coming from Zillow, purchase ad leads, or there's just not the business there, the team leader might be looking to get you on their team just to get into your network and to help them grow their business as well. So, and I didn't mean to make this podcast about that, but those are things. There's a lot of important questions that you need to ask about if you're going to start a team, why you're starting a team, if you're going to get on a team, why you're getting on a team, who is the team leader, and what is their why.
And I think probably the vast majority of the reasons why new agents will join an existing team, well, there's, I guess, probably two major reasons, but one is going to be lead generation. If that team is promising, in whatever way they're going to distribute leads down to the new agent, there's obviously that promise, which solves a tremendous fear for a new agent going, how do I build this business? How do I do this? Well, we'll help solve that for you because we have an overflow of leads. And I would encourage everyone who's exploring those options to just be cautious about that, because a lot of teams will promise all sorts of things, which may or may not turn out to be true. The other reason that people might want to join a team is for probably the best reason of all is mentorship and coaching. And, if that's something that your current firm isn't offering, in and of itself, with all the fees you're paying them, then yeah, maybe it does make sense to look at another firm or a team. But if you're looking just to solve the lead issue, and again, not everyone is good at lead generation, but you can learn that skill. And it's really, as Ryan has said time and time again, it's about relationship building. And if all you ever did was deepen the existing connections you have, and if Ryan's numbers are accurate with, hey, 16% of the people are going to transact in the next 12 months, well, you are going to get more of those deals if all you focus on is deepening those relationships. And by the way, closing 15 deals in your first couple of years is a pretty good year for a newer real estate agent, or adding 15 or 16 more deals to your existing year production is really good. And it's going
closing 15 deals if your average price point is $500,000 is a hell of a year.
Yeah.
If you're a 10-year veteran in it as well, it depends on your price point and where you are.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where we sort of circle back always to habits, and not operating from fear. If you're somebody who's an agent and you're struggling right now, well, our heart goes out to you. You're not alone. Lots of people are struggling. And usually the struggle is related not to circumstance, but to habit, the disciplines. And yes, circumstances are going to knock you down in the moment. Ryan has been through them. I've been through them. I've had a lot of similar experiences, Ryan, that you've had. And at the same point, I can still wake up every day and decide what I'm going to do that day. And I can, it starts with like what I eat for breakfast, and starts with like, okay, what do I have to do for work? And a lot of that stuff doesn't come naturally to me. So I have people that help me with that. And they're not assistants that do it for me. They're people that go, did you do this today? And if I didn't, then they'll say, okay, well, why don't we do that tomorrow? And, I still ultimately do everything. And most realtors out there who are practicing, they're doing most everything themselves too. But having somebody that can just help guide you along the path and check in with you. And like you were saying, for some of your top producers who are, their habits, aren't as they're not as disciplined as they once were, you can then say to them, hey, let's refocus on that and let's see what happens.
Yep, exactly. So I think, DJ, that kind of wraps up for today. I think what we're going to cover.
And wraps up for the year as well. So this was
oh my gosh.
What an
That's
interesting
right.
2020. And, it's one of those things where we know that there's a lot of agents that this maybe was their best year they've ever had. And we know a lot of agents where this was a really challenging year for real estate. And Ryan and I will both tell you the difference between the people who flourished and who didn't, generally speaking. Some people could just get lucky, I guess, but most people just probably, like you were saying, had better habits, better disciplines. And 2021 is the time to cultivate some of those habits. And it's a marathon, like you started saying at the beginning. It's endurance. And
yep.
Go ahead.
Well, and the people that got lucky just have generally probably a natural tendency to have a good network and good social abilities, and they might be more of the sharper closer where they're not going to ask for the sale, they're going to assume the sale, and those are two different skill sets that you can learn and master. But those lucky people have some natural tendencies, but anybody can have them if you treat this like a business and you focus on that relationship building time 5 days a week. And then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself the lucky one. And that's what Angela Duckworth calls flow. And that flow doesn't occur, at the same time that you're doing what we call live flow. Right, Ninja calls live flow, being in flow with your network, that 10 touches a day, systematically 5 days a week. That's a different type of flow that Angela talks about. The flow is all of a sudden I got 5 active buyers I'm working with. I got 7 active listings. That's flow. That's a different type of flow. That flow is a result of the grit of you doing the mundane activities day in and day out. And really, you need to do it for 24 consecutive weeks. 24 consecutive weeks to see the tipping point. And then you're going to experience that flow in your business.
Yeah, it's always about the small effort that is done consistently over time that generates the big results. And you're right, that snowball effect does happen. And it happens in other areas of life. It happens in relationships. It happens in health. It happens in finance, and obviously in business as well. So let's all focus on habits for next year. And we should probably focus on habits forever. But it's a new year, new you, which is I'm sort of sick of that expression, but it is time to possibly reinvent yourself. And you don't have to reinvent in a big way. Just try to add 1 or 2 small habits. And if you say, well, okay, my goal is to get an extra 30 sales over the next year. Okay, well, how many touches do you need to do a day to get, to reasonably, again, what you're really saying is, how do I deepen more relationships so that more people think about me so I can get 30 additional sales? Well, that's going to be about, making sure that you're staying top of mind by staying in touch. And it's not difficult, but it is difficult. It's simple, but difficult. So just like working out, it's simple. We all know what to do, but doing it's the hard part. And if you can just get yourself to do it. Yep.
Yeah. It's the endurance. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, what a great way to wrap up 2020. Congratulations to D'April Properties and all your other businesses and all the success you guys had. And thank you from behalf of the audience for being on for years now. You are always here. You're very loyal to the show. We appreciate that. And hopefully we'll have some even big things to announce next year with some additional endeavors that you're involved in. So we definitely keep the audience abreast of that. We will see everybody, of course. We're going to keep going. And by the way, this podcast is a true measure of endurance. It is not something that I did one episode. I think I had, I don't even know how many people listened to the first one, maybe 4. And that was about it. And so here now we have tens of thousands of listeners, and it's not because I'm particularly a good host, and it's not because we get, Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But I'm not such a good host that I'm winning all these people over, but I'm just putting out consistent content. I'm trying to get better. We have great guests like Ryan on, regularly, and then all of our one-off guests as well. We're getting better guests, and not even better guests, but we're getting even bigger guests constantly now. And again, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, and it's just a consistent thing. And it doesn't make me special. I can just somehow get myself to do this. And everyone who's listening can add any of these sort of disciplines into their life, and you'll see some big results. But it does take a while. So I wish life was a sprint, but it seems to be the marathon. I'd be much, life would be a lot. Well, it probably wouldn't be easier if it was a sprint, but it seems like it would be easier. So we'll continue running the marathon. Ryan, thanks again. And for everyone who's listening, if you are in the Chicagoland area, if you're in Michigan, Indiana, or Wisconsin, DAPL Properties would love to chat with you. If you're not getting that coaching or the support, or you're just looking for a change, give them a call, give them a ring, or shoot over to their website, daplproperties.com, see what they're all about. One of the cool things that they do that really, I obviously don't know how every firm in the Chicagoland area operates, because Ryan and I are both sort of Chicago based. But most of the firms I know do not do what DAPL Properties provides for their agents, which is a lot of the marketing and a lot of the coaching. A lot of firms promise those things, but DAPL Properties actually delivers it, and that's why they've become so successful. So if you're interested in looking to see what other firms offer, DAPL Properties is a good bet. And then find them on daplproperties.com, or just message our show. We can get you in touch with them as well. And also, for everyone listening, before you go, please tell a friend. That helps us continue to grow. Think about one other agent that could benefit from hearing this coaching moment episode with Ryan. Send them a link to our show, even if they're not in the real estate business, but they just want good coaching because they're in some sort of industry. Maybe it's mortgage or real estate or financial services, or anything where they are looking to grow their business, or they're just an entrepreneur and are struggling, or just want to take it to the next level. And send them a link to this episode. We appreciate it. Ryan, we will see you in 2021. Thank you. Thanks for consistently being on our show.
Thanks, TJ.